Three.
Before you have a quorum?
Thank you. What's that?
Am I meant to take minutes before you have a quorum? I don't know.
Oh, yes, we just can't take any votes.
Okay.
We have a quorum. We have a
Oh,
quorum,
right. Cool. Yep.
right, that's fine. But when we have Tim here, we'll feel better about all of this. In any case, good morning, everybody. As I said, Joan and Peter are not going to be in attendance, and Noel has a hard stop at 11. We have an absolutely overwhelming agenda this morning. And so I will ask that when it's your opportunity to deliver a report or whatever, that you make it as concise as possible so we can move along. I do have agenda items at the bottom. If we go too long, I'm going to need to move them up, but I won't do that yet. So, Charlie, roll call, please. I think you've pretty much done it, but go right ahead.
Leslie, you're here.
Yes,
Carl, no answer. Angus?
Yep.
Peter's not here. Joan's not here. Susan?
Here.
Here. Tim? I'm here. And Noel?
Tim's joining.
Tim's joining,
Yes,
good.
here.
He just
No,
called me.
Noel here.
Got you, Noel. Okay, we are about 1 point short on the quorum.
For voting.
We have five towns, but I need one more.
All right, so we can have a meeting, but we can't vote on anything. Not
Does that,
until,
does that
I'm sorry?
include Tim? Does that include Tim?
No,
We just found out.
Tim
Oh,
is
he's
here.
Tim is here.
Good.
Tim's here?
Yep.
Okay,
Okay, then we're good to go.
we're over. Okay, Leslie.
Thank you. Okay, are there any visitors? I don't see any visitors as such. Any visitors' comments? Hearing none, we're moving forward to the secretary's report. Charlie, again?
Secretary's report, I have no correspondence to report, but we have some meetings, the minutes of several meetings to approve. The first is the board meeting minutes of September 17th. Like
So moved.
a second. Any discussion? None heard. Take a vote. All in
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion passed. Next, we have acceptance of the committee meetings of September 21st, September 28th, and the agenda list of October 12th, but they are not available, so we'll limit this to September 21st and 28th. Can I have a motion to accept the minutes of those two meetings?
Specifically, those are the minutes of the ET.
Second,
Second.
any discussion? None heard. We'll take a vote. All in favor of accepting those minutes of those two meetings?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? None heard, so the motion passes. We then move on to the minutes of the Finance Committee dated October 13th. I'd like a motion to accept those minutes, please.
So moved.
Second? Second?
I'll second it. Like Agnes, he can.
Okay.
Yeah. whatever.
Angus did it.
I'll-
All right, any discussion? We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. On the last set of minutes we have are for the Personnel Committee, October 4th. And I have a motion to accept the minutes of the Personnel Committee. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second, Susan, second, please.
Second.
Second, discussion. None heard. We'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None. The motion passes. That's the end of the secretary's report.
Excellent. Thank you, Charlie. Moving along to you again for communications.
I have no communications, no information to report on.
Thank you. Very nice. Moving along to the treasurer's report. Susan,
No report today.
thank you very much. Good report. Moving along to committee reports, item number 8. First is our ETC committee. Susan.
Okay, all of you are aware that we did receive the DOT letter of intent signed by the commissioner. The letter was dated October 7th. There was a minor change in it to change the date by which they will program funding to acquire land for the shoreline facility from September 30th to November 30th. The ETC has invited and by the way, the letter came in with the exception of that one change, exactly, we had submitted it. DOT staff have been invited to regularly attend the ETC meetings to give us regular updates on the status of various items. The TODs for the 3 positions are in process. We expect to receive those in 2 weeks. An article has appeared in both the Connecticut Examiner and the Day on the merger. They were largely accurate. We have received virtually all support from each of the towns to go ahead with the merger, contingent on DOT commitment coming in, which it has. And we do have some other merger related items that we'll discuss under new business. The $2.5 million request for additional funding from the Federal Relief Act is pending at DOT and actively under consideration. The changes in the committee are that Carl Kilduff will now sit on the ETC as an Estuary board member in my place, and Joan Gay, who is an existing ETC member, will take over as co-chair with Laura Francis. I would like a motion to, well, are there any questions or comments on the DOT letter? Okay. I would like a motion to authorize the Estuary Transit District Board Chair, Leslie Strauss, to accept the October 7th, 2021 CTDOT letter of intent regarding the expansion of Estuary Transit District.
So moved. Noel.
Second,
Okay. Further discussion?
Who
I think-
seconded that? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Charlie.
Charlie, thank you.
I'm sorry, Leslie, you were supposed to do that.
What? No, no. No, I'm not going to motion for myself. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Okay, unanimous. This is great. Thank you. That's the end of my report for ETC.
Susan, I have one question.
Yeah.
You mentioned the notifications in the press. Is there any date on which there's going to be any kind of a definitive announcement about the merger?
The ETC committee is looking at the potential of a public media event to do just that, Charlie. And no decision has been made at this point.
Okay, thank you.
All righty.
Thank you. Moving along to the Finance Committee report. Susan?
Okay, we do have some proposals on a fare for extra mile and salary increases that we will discuss under new business.
Okay, so that's it. We have to, I believe, I'm sorry, let me go back. We have to accept the ETC and the Finance Committee reports. So just one motion for those if somebody would. Motion to accept both of those reports.
So moved.
Susan, second.
Second,
Charlie, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye, aye, aye. Thank you very much. Marketing committee, basically, in addition to the usual stuff, and Joe will probably elaborate, the brochure that we prepared to give out to the public in preparation for a media presentation has gone to the printer. We should have that within the week. That's that tri-fold that we showed you with all the bubbles all over it. So that's, oh, that's pretty. That's a picture of Matt Gate. In addition, Joe and I had prepared, with Susan's great assistance, a PowerPoint presentation, which will be updated and ready to roll out for whatever media presentation we have. And by that, we're talking about stakeholders, legislators, town meetings, whatever we're asked to do to help make, to help the towns to vote to have this one district. We'll be prepared for it. So we're on a roll. Joe is showing you the latest PR we've gotten. We had in the Advocate and in the Day articles about the merger. Joe, did you want to elaborate since you put those up?
Just want to quickly show them. I did send, I think everyone should have gotten them. But they did both, all three media ran different stories. The Middletown Press was really just based on comments from the city council meeting. The other two did call us and interview. Both the Day and the Examiner did pretty thorough stories. And the Examiner called a lot of people. And one thing that was funny that the reporter said to me was, he told me that he had already spoken to a lot of people about the story, various town CEOs and such. He said, it's funny, this never really happens. Everyone I've spoken to, with all the people I've spoken to, not one person has anything negative to say. So that was a nice comment to hear. And then I was going to quickly put up, because I don't think this group has seen, just quickly show the PowerPoint that Leslie was referring to. So Middletown, I know, already used this for their city council, but we have it available for anyone else who might want it. Quickly show you. And one other thing I was going to show on marketing, I'll do really fast, is we did a quick look at over the summer time, just to see how the websites perform. Number one, hits are way back up again. Up, like September was up like 160% over the prior year. So that's good. People are back to looking up information on our website, and that's reflected in the ridership numbers. But what was also interesting, I've got so many things open here now. Let's find the share. There we go. Our top sites for the period, there it is, for the summer. See, right up, pretty high up was Park Connect. So we had a good number of people visiting the website, looking up specifically Park Connect service. Extra Mile still is up towards the top too of our top viewed web pages. And even taxi is that's fairly well. So just a really quick look at how people are using our website and the amount of people that were drawn in through the advertising on the Park Connect program. We did get a good number of views just from that marketing.
Great. Joe, are we still putting ads in the events magazines?
Yes.
Because Chester's came out and I didn't even see it in there. So if it's there, I'll have to look again.
Look again, because we pay for it. So if it's not there,
I'll look again.
let me know.
Are you able to tell if you get any results?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think it's good for a certain demographic. There are some people for whom they do read those. So
People read, yeah.
Yeah.
Questions, other questions about marketing? How we're doing? Okay, thank you. You do not have to accept that report. Then we will move along to Personnel Committee. Noel?
Yes, Joe, don't go away, Joe. Obviously, you're going to be there. That was a second meeting, the Personnel Committee we had. This has to do with the issues related to vaccination, who's not being vaccinated. We have a letter from our attorney. And Joe, I don't have those minutes in front of me, but Joe, would you comment on that, please?
Sure.
Very straightforward discussion. We were unanimous in what we were recommending.
Yes. So the committee reviewed a potential vaccine requirement, and after reviewing the, I wouldn't necessarily say advice, but the information from our labor attorney, we then looked at other options. We thought there were several potential challenges to implementing such a policy. So we then looked at some other potential ways to encourage vaccination, and in the end, again with information from our labor attorney on those potential methods. And in the end, what was decided was to just to double down on what we've been doing, which is just really promoting again the additional vacation time for people who get vaccinated, and hoping that some of the new people that come on will take advantage of that. Because overall, our vaccination rates are pretty good, and we know they're even a little higher because some people, again, that are newer just haven't provided proof of vaccination. But that was a recommendation, kind of continue that program and promote it again. And then we'll start
Joe?
here.
My recollection from that meeting was that, or no, excuse me, my recollection was that you're extending that 8-hour vacation time incentive through the end of the year. Is that?
Correct. That's right.
Okay,
That's what I missed. Yes.
that's what you meant, right?
Yes. That's the part I missed.
Noel, is there anything else on your Personnel Committee?
Oh, thanks, Joe. Thank all of you on the committee. I think we did our job. We had great advice from our attorney, and so that's the end of the report. Thank you.
Great, thank you very, very much. Just because I don't know if we do or we don't, I'm going to ask for a motion to accept Personnel Committee report.
So moved.
Thank you, Susan. Second,
Second,
what?
Click that
Oh.
back. So.
Well, okay. Thank you. I think Charlie was the second on that. I don't hear any discussion or objection, so the committee report's accepted. Thank you. Legislative Committee, Joan is not here. Did she give anyone else her notes? Is there a report that?
They have not met.
I don't think so. Okay,
No.
so we'll move along. Service Study Committee, Charlie, have you got anything new?
no, nothing new. So we're in abeyance on that until we get further progress on the merger.
Okay,
Leslie, I have one question on that. At the last ETC meeting, and I think at our last board meeting, we talked about having a combined service study committee that would include members of both the MAP district as well
Right.
as Estuary. Has that occurred at this
No.
point?
there's been, to my knowledge, and I'm guessing to Charlie's knowledge, there's been no effort made to enlarge that committee. Do you have a suggestion? Do you want to put that through ETC on your agenda and ask who would like to?
Well, it's already been through ETC, so I think it's a question of Estuary choosing, asking Joe Samalas who he wants to serve on that committee. And
All
then having this board approve that at some future point.
All right, so on the service committee right now, we have 3 members. And are we suggesting that we ask for 3 from Middletown or just representation?
I wouldn't ask for 3. They only have 4 people all together. So I would just ask Joe Samalas how many and who he would like to serve on that.
Okay, fine. Charlie, you okay with that?
Okay,
if I ask Joe Samalas?
Yeah.
And I'll get back to you on how that works out. Anything else on service study? No, okay, fine, moving along. COG update, Joe, do you have something from the COG?
I don't think we've had we did have one meeting recently, but no, unless there's anything you could think of that's irrelevant.
No, I'm on the executive committee. No, we are recommending renewal of Sam's contract. We had discussion that yesterday. Most of our discussion to date, and Agnes is there also, he can comment. How we're going to handle the opera funds, how are various towns handling that? That's an issue. And the other thing the other problem, I shouldn't say problem, we want to talk about is there's a sense from Sam and others that maybe we'd like to set aside some of the opera funds, maybe as much as 15% for regional projects, those regional projects yet not being identified. So it's a moving target, how the towns are going to allocate these funds, how much they can be synchronized, and whether there's a role that some of our funds could help support some ideas that the COG has for regional projects. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. Or anything else from the COG that anybody's aware of? Whoops, what did I do? For some reason, I'm back, right? Okay. Anything else on the COG? Nothing? Okay, moving along then. To my knowledge, we do not need any executive session.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, fine. Boy, it's nice to move past that one, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Okay, moving along to item 9, Executive Director's Report. Joe?
Okay, so I got so much open here.
I was gonna
Share my
say, this is
screen.
what I call speedy. Go.
I just have way too much stuff open on the computer, so I can't find it. So, yeah, we have, as you see on the agenda, we got the many capital projects are underway from this year's funding, and so we are been focusing on items first because that was a little easier to do. None of them required an RFP, and which means writing specs and all that. Next, once we get on the new positions, we'll be able to start writing the scopes, the RFPs and scopes for the studies. That will be that's going to be the much harder and more time-consuming procurements. So you see 6 procurements on the agenda today. So Chris has been doing a lot of that, so she's very busy with getting those together. As was mentioned, we expect TOD within 2 weeks, if not possibly sooner. So we've already advertised. We just put those positions up yesterday, so we can start getting applications in, because we know it's going to be some time, to get the people in and then get them trained up. We also submitted a request to DOT. They're finally looking at splitting up the CRSSA and the ARPA funds. Those are the second and third rounds of COVID programs passed by the federal government, which both contained transit funding in them. To date, the state of Connecticut has not divided up any of those funds. So they contacted us about 2 weeks ago, first to say really that we were not spending the money quick enough that we had already, and we want to see more activity, but then also to ask what we projected for future needs. So we have requested the $2.5 million of expansion costs that we've discussed many times. So we've been talking operations about it. I've now put that request into the capital side. We asked for 3 years of Route 81 service funding, making the argument that our pilot was really ruined by COVID. We only got a year in before COVID impacted it. So we want to use COVID funds to basically redo the pilot during a little better times. And then just projected COVID-related expenses and revenue loss through the end of June 30th, 2024. So we'll be negotiating with them probably the next week or two on those split agreements. And that's all of my report, because we've got new business items all over the place that we'll talk more about. So that's it.
Okay, so is that your whole report?
That's it. Yeah, that's all of my report. And like I said, the rest is all on other parts of the agenda.
Okay, any questions for Joe on the report to date? No, motion to accept.
So made.
Angus, second. Charlie, fine. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Yay. Okay. Sorry, I'm sure that's not protocol, but hey. Moving on to Finance Director's report. Helena, good morning.
Good morning. We only, our budget was actual, we only 2 months on our fiscal year, so there's not that much to report. I can just tell that we with the budget. The only highlights I want to point out on the Park Connect program. The program we finished, it was from Memorial Day to Labor Day. We built DOT for it, and we have like, after we build it, we make little surplus is like $8,400. It was almost 25% of our existing services, so it was pretty expensive. The other thing I want to point out on the Summary Care Act. So can you open it? Just want to show you what we have today with the Care Act, which is that Care Act is, as you remember, it has a two points. One is the extra mile, and other one other Care Act revenue. So so when you see up to day we are spent 192,000 in extra mile and 322,888 and total 515,000, which is remaining balance still 1,984, 1,985,000. That's the only thing. Other than that, if you want me to go through it, I just want to try to make it quick because we went through all this with finance committee. Is there any questions? On the budget was actual? Okay. I can move to cash flow. So for me, when you look at it, cash flow based on a lot of money coming in still from DOT. I just received DOT 152,842. I just received email from them. They sent to account payable, so we should receive it with the beginning next week and the next week definitely. So as long money coming in, we should be in good shape, as you can tell. So we good. Cash flow is pretty strong. Is there any question on the cash flow?
No, and no discussion. I'd like a motion, please, to accept the Finance Director's reports. Hello?
So
No,
moved,
no.
so moved.
Noel and Susan's a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? You can take down the
Aye.
report. Who's, there we go. Thank you, Helena. I finally got to see her in person because I went to the Middletown facility twice this week, actually. And I saw their nice little offices. Did you water your plants yet? Okay, moving along. Operation Director's report, Jared Whitcomb. Jared, I don't think we've gotten much out of you yet.
No, and he's got interviews this morning, so I
Where'd he
think I
go?
would cover his report.
We're never gonna meet Joe. Do you have his report, Joe, or?
I do, yes. Well, anytime we can get an interview, we take it. So a lot of good news this past 2 months. It's a lot of information up there, but everyone should have gotten it in advance. So the key things here really are that for September, if you look at our total ridership, so we were up 47% over September of 2020, but even more importantly, we were up 3% over September of 2019, which is very unusual.
That's
Most
great.
systems are not back up to their pre-COVID numbers yet, and we've gotten there, at least for September. So that's really positive. Now, some services are still down, some are doing better than others, but they're all doing pretty well. The ADA is growing really quickly. That's one thing that's definitely notable. Still small numbers overall, but we went up to 173 trips in September, and you see we've been prior to that we've been significantly less. The I ride's back to where it was pre-pandemic, so that's really good news. Extra mile just continues to do extremely well. 62% increase over September of 2020, 1,500 trips in the month. That's so through September, it's already done more trips than we did in all of 2020. So it's really continuing to grow. The trolley did well. Chris is going to actually cover the Park Connect stuff since that was one of her projects. That's kind of the one Park Connect thing that existed prior. And it did definitely better this year than it's done in the past. And then look at our fixed routes. Again, it's a mix of some are doing better than before than 2019. Some are still a little lower, but the worst really is a 644, and I think that is largely because of the university is still doing so much remote, and I don't know if that will change. That might be something that is kind of here to stay. But if you look at the others are all at this point, 10, 11% off of 2019 or better. So that's, again, a much better story than we've been looking at in the past. Like just in the midsummer, we were still 35% down over 2019. So things are coming back.
Joe, do you have any idea how we compare it with regard to ridership increases to other districts in the state?
I haven't heard numbers yet from the rest of the state, for something as recent as September. I know that Middletown is still down significantly. So we're definitely seeing a quicker rebound in Middletown. But I haven't heard numbers for as recent as September from other parts of the state.
Okay.
So Chris, you want to take over the Park Connect?
Yeah, I can tell you about the Park Connect. So between Memorial Day and Labor Day, on those 4 runs that we had going to the park, the 641, 645, the Madison Shuttle and the trolley, we provided almost 12,000 rides. There were 11,954 people. Only 397 of those did go to the park, got off at the park. So that's like 3%. But our numbers show that Saturday and Sundays are popular. 641 provided 7,763 rides. The average daily number of riders was 97. Saturday, we had an average of 59 people, and Sundays, 31 average. On 645, the Route 81 averages during the week 10 riders. Saturdays, we averaged 10 riders, and we averaged 4 riders on Sundays. The Madison Shuttle, we had a total of, 286 riders on that during the summer. Average 2 on the weekdays, 6 on Saturdays, and 4 on Sundays. The trolley was the most popular. That had average of 8 riders on the weekday, 20 on Saturdays, and 28 on Sundays, and 23% of the ridership on the trolley went to the park. 641, I think only one person we counted had gotten off at Hammonasset. At 645, 3% of the population went, and on the Madison trolley, 15% got off at Hammonasset. And that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anything else under Operation Director? Joe?
Nope, that's all.
That's it. Okay. Moving along then to the Maintenance Director's
Patrick, do you
report.
need
Is
a
Patrick
motion?
here? Do we need a motion for the Operations Director's report? We do?
I think
Okay.
we usually do.
Fine, sorry. They all look alike to me. Motion to accept, please. Hello,
So moved.
Susan, second. Angus, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you. Moving along now to the Maintenance Director's report. Patrick, are you
Pat
here?
had to run too. We have a vendor in town servicing the buses, so he had to go with them. He was on earlier. Um, So one of the things he's been working on is getting our the camera systems from preventative maintenance done on the entire fleet for the two systems. We have the same camera system. So that's who he's working with today. They're back. They did their inspections and now they're back doing repairs. It's a very important thing, but often gets ignored, and you don't know that your cameras don't work until you pull them to get because of an incident, and then you find out it wasn't recording or that camera's broken. So it's an important thing to do to make sure they're always working. So what he asked me to report was that first we did hire a new service worker down in Estuary. We've had one in the past. He had left in August. And so we got a new one started about a month ago now. And so all the service workers positions are now under maintenance, which is typically where they are. And so that position reports to Pat, and he's working with that individual to do a little more of the activities that typically are done by a service worker, not just cleaning. That's what we've always really just done is cleaning. Work with him on making sure the fluids are checked, very light repairs done, like headlights, things that pretty simple to do, but we'll put a bus out of service for a day or two because we have contracted maintenance. So he's working on really having a strong daily service routine that will help on the maintenance side, and hopefully soon get the bus operators out of doing fluids altogether, because that's been a problem in the past. We've lost some engines and transmissions and such from people not properly adding fluids, or adding the wrong fluid, adding too much fluid. So that's where he's moving there. He has started to do occasional preventative maintenance on 9-town vehicles up in Middletown. And we're hoping to sometime soon be able to add on another mechanic up there to really focus just on PMs to get them all on time. Because what we're seeing is like everywhere else, our maintenance vendors are short people. And so it's getting harder to get things scheduled. And then even once work is done, it's getting harder to get the reports back to know that work is getting done. So yeah, just like everyone, where everyone's having trouble getting people. So it's definitely impacting our vendors and our ability to get preventive maintenance done on time, which is extremely important. Especially, it's one of the big things that the Federal Transit Administration checks when they come to do our triennial. So, and that's
So when you say that they're short people, you mean that they're understaffed, not that they're vertically challenged, right?
that's correct.
Oh, okay. I was just trying to work that out. Okay, anything else on maintenance director? Motion to
that's all.
accept that report then, please. Angus, second.
Second,
Charlie, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Thank you very much. Please thank Patrick for that wonderful report. Okay, moving along to new business. Whew. ETD board policies. I know you've all received a copy of this and plenty of opportunity to make your notes. I'm going to turn this over to Susan, who will take us through them. And if
Actually,
you have any comments or questions, stop as we go along, right, Susan?
well, I wasn't planning to go through them one by one. I was more inclined to ask if anyone had any specific issues they would like to bring up. I know Carl mentioned under, for example, the attendance policy, that the reference there is to notify the first selectman, and since not all towns will have a first selectman, we will change that to the CEO, which would cover town managers and city council members, etc.
But Susan, may I ask that we put those up so that some of us have comments we can run through?
Okay. I don't have them though. Joe, do you have?
There we go. Thank you. Right, because I had a couple of little comments, if you don't mind. Under attendance, it's my understanding that, wait a second here. Meetings policy. I'm sorry, can we go up to the meetings policy, not the attendance? Scroll down to the meetings policy. There we go. Item number 1. It's my understanding that the schedule has to go to the Secretary of State as per a chapter 14, section 1 dash whatever. You've got the numbers there. And that just has to be included in there. It's just, fixing that up. Any question about what I'm talking about? It's just notification.
Nope, that's fine.
Okay, and item 2, under meetings policy. Can we push that up? Oh,
That's a whole
well,
meeting policy.
maybe it's not numbered. Somewhere it talks about the electronic. There's nothing that says that attendance by electronics is acceptable, and that was, I'm sorry.
It said,
That is somewhere.
the second to last paragraph says, committee directors may attend them electronically, but must notify the chair.
Why? Why do they have to notify the chair if they're attending electronically, if in fact, in person or electronic are equally acceptable? I don't think that's necessary.
Well, one of the problems that we've had on a variety of committees is that we do not know what the intention is of directors, and quorum has been an issue. If someone plans to attend electronically, that helps the administrative staff know that they've got somebody coming in on a Zoom or other electronic means.
In
Without
normal
that,
times, it would be helpful to know so that we could set up the equipment.
right.
Okay, see, now, I'm just making the assumption, sorry to take time on this, that at any meeting, at any point in the future, you can attend either in person or electronically. So to me, having to notify the chair that you're coming in electronically is an extra step that's probably not necessary, but I don't know. I mean, nobody lets the chair know that they are coming to a meeting in person. The policy is usually an absentee policy. If you're not coming, you are supposed to notify the chair. So I don't know how you want to, or if you want to do anything with that.
I don't think it requires any change. myself.
Okay, fine. Okay, my next comment comes under investment policy. If someone has anything prior to that. There we go. Under the assurance of keeping our money, purpose is ensure our government. I should have gone over this with you a month ago when I wrote them down. For
Are any of these substantive, Leslie, as
no,
opposed?
no, they are not. These are not substantive at all.
Okay. If they're stylistic, we can go over them later and we don't need to
Okay,
take everybody's
Fine,
time.
thank you. Ignore me then. I'm done.
Okay. Did anyone else have any concerns with the policies? Okay. We also sent out the bylaws, and I will ask the same question of that document, which is, we're not asking for formal approval at this point. That will happen at some point down the road after the Middletown members vote to join Estuary and Estuary votes to accept them. The main significant piece in the bylaws was a very long and comprehensive discussion about quorum and how to assure the participation, equal participation of small as well as large towns. Does anybody have any questions about the bylaws or any concerns?
Susan, is this draft is based on and very similar to the existing policy?
Yes. And both the attorneys for Estuary and Middletown have reviewed these and find them acceptable. They made a few suggestions and we incorporated those changes.
I just have a couple tiny little comments, if we could put those up again too. Under Article 5. Five C to be specific, nominations.
Okay.
Nominations for all officers shall be made from the floor at the annual meeting or via the appropriate committee. And I think that nominations shall be made from the floor and or at the meeting, they or from the committee. They
So
can be
instead
the
of-
committee
instead
or
of
from
or-
the floor.
Instead of or, you want and or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
And under article, the same article, number 4, treasurer,
Wait.
we push up a little bit. And then I'm done. You'll be happy to know. Okay, treasurer in the last line there. Treasurer, hold on here. Therefore, all purposes, same, therefore. Is the wrong word. Pay out and dispose of same and receipt therefore. No.
I don't know where you are.
Okay, if you look at the top of page 4, the first line, which is the continuation of paragraph 4, okay?
Okay.
Receipt therefore, it's thereof, not therefore. So that's just, I told you, it's just picky stuff.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
And I'm done. Are you happy about that?
Yeah. Okay. Okey doke. Any other comments on policies or bylaws? Okay, this is, again, you'll have another opportunity to weigh in on the aspects of both of these at some future point, but for now, at least the main pieces are in place. Thank you for taking the time to look at those. Okay, I think salary increases also me, Leslie.
It's either you or Joe.
Well, it came out of the finance committee, so let me set it up just a little bit.
Yep, go for it.
Normally, we consider salary increases for drivers effective July 1st or January 1st of the year, because we are having difficulty hiring and to some extent retaining, especially part-time drivers. We're recommending a $1 per hour increase for drivers to move their hourly rate from $18 to $19 effective October 4th, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. So it's basically a 2-month acceleration of that particular raise. It has a full annual cost of $55,500 and a 9-month cost of $41,200. We are also looking to increase staff salaries, which normally are scheduled for July 1st, beginning of the fiscal year. Our budget includes them, but we do not act on them until after we've received the TOD from DOT, so that if the TODs provide 3%, then we give a 3% raise. If they provide 2.5%, we give a 2.5% raise. We just recently received the TOD, and that calls for a 3% increase. And so we're looking to raise administrative staff salaries by 3%, retroactive to July 1st of 2021. And that would go through June 30th of 2022. That has a full annual cost of, I think, about 14 or 15,000. And again, that was included in the budget. So the budget does provide funding authorization for both of these. Joe, do you want to add anything to that?
Nope, there's your totals.
Yeah, thank you.
And yeah, I'll just kind of reiterate what you said, that just as we said earlier, as everyone's hearing, and I'm sure, and many of you are experiencing, hiring is very tough right now, and particularly drivers. I know that story's been all over the news media. So it definitely would be helpful to get that rate up, because school bus rates have gone up. Just in the past year, they've gone up significantly. So we need to keep pace. And that has been our plan. But this was our plan was to go up $1 a year, back when the legislature set the minimum wage to go up $1 per year until it hits 15. We wanted to keep our differential from the minimum wage. So we knew we were going to have to, if at all possible, go up $1 per year. So this keeps with that plan and will help keep us competitive.
Joe, and just to comment, obviously you're just talking about the drivers at this point for salary increases, correct?
No.
So we're doing the drivers. The staff is what's budgeted. It's a 3%. The drivers are more than 3%.
Okay, all right. Okay, second question, Joe, when we talk about staff in particular, are there personnel evaluations that are done? That's the first question. Is it just across the board automatically for everybody? And is there any merit built into this?
So it really has been across the board, because we're usually at the 2.5 to 3% level. So that's not in the past. Well, back in the way past, we used to get, when we were getting much bigger increases from DOT. We did build in some merit, but it's been hard with the very small increases we've been getting to really look at much merit. But of course, that's all been different right now with people's jobs changing. People who have had new responsibilities have gotten changes to their salaries. So that's kind of everything's, how would you describe it? So everything's kind of in flux right now with so much changing, and But those are things we want to get to with getting a new HR person on. Hopefully being able to better formalize some of these things. In the future,
I'm in
have
complete
better pay
agreement with the
ranges.
3%. Sorry. I'm in complete agreement with 3%. We all know what the cost of living is. I think that's, we should just go ahead and approve that.
Should I make a motion here?
I agree with, no.
Okay. I would like to move that Estuary Transit District provide a $1 per hour increase for drivers effective October 4th, 2021, and a 3% salary increase for administrative staff effective July 1st, 2021.
Second that.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Susan, did you? Hello? All in favor?
Yeah, I made the motion, so I thought you were going to handle it, but that's fine. That's fine.
That's fine.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
No, motion carries. Thank you. That's it for salary increases. Extra mile fares, Joe?
Do you want to tee this up, Susan, since it came out of finance as well?
Sure. We agreed to impose a fare for the first time on the extra mile service at our last board meeting and asked the finance committee to go back and take a look at what the options would be. And we did that at our meeting this week. And Joe can walk us through the numbers that we are recommending to you.
Okay, is everyone seeing it or no? Not yet. I don't know what this is. Oh, there we go. Just gotta find it here. There it is. Okay. So we looked at a few different options and what their impact would be. And so as Susan said, currently it's free. We started the pilot as free. Then even after the pilot ended, DOT asked us to continue it free to see, because it was still increasing so rapidly, the ridership on it. And then the pandemic hit and everything was free. And we still decide, even when we started implementing fares again on the regular routes, we still continued this free as we decided what we were going to do in terms of fares. So right now, projecting ridership to be about 14,000 this year. See, we're already about 11 through September. So our annual operating costs we're projecting to be about 240. And so those are the numbers we kind of use across the board. And we also used some industry known elasticity of demand for transit ridership. And so, we know, nationally over decades and decades about what the impact is on ridership for every percentage increase in fare in the cost of fares. So we use that number to predict what the ridership would be at different fare levels. So we came up with 3 different options. Option 1 is just using our fixed route fare, which is $1.75. We don't necessarily get $1.75 per trip because the transfers and our multi-use passes, like 10 ride tickets, are discounted and such. So what we actually collect is something lower, which we've estimated here as the average fare. Option 2 was something a little higher, putting a little premium on it because it is a little more premium service than the fixed route. And option 3 was going with our dollar ride fare, which is the $3.50. So those are the various options we looked at. And you kind of see what their impact is. And again, using those, the statistical information, if you go as high as 350, you don't necessarily get a whole lot more revenue because you're going to have an impact on ridership. that will negate a lot of that increase in fare cost. So, and the committee did look at it, and final recommendation of the committee was it option 2 or 1?
One.
1. Okay.
But
Thank you. There's a lot on this agenda. I can't remember things as well as I used to. So the committee recommended option 1, which basically just do the fixed route fare. And I think a big part of that was, one of our things we discussed was that we do have a big fare study coming, and we could really reevaluate that at that time. And this way kind of sticks to our current fare structure before that fare study occurs.
Joe, I have a question. On the deficit per trip, is that because of the projected numbers of riders that it gets higher as you get more money?
Yeah.
I see. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, it gets closer to dollar ride numbers of cost. And then the other thing we discussed was what the process would be. So once we won't be necessarily approving a fare today, we'll just be make a motion to tell us to go forward with it, because we'll have to go out to public hearing and get comments, feedback, and then we'll also have to get approval from the state. So we'll have to come back to the board again, probably realistically December, maybe even later, depending on the public hearing, but hopefully December meeting with the comments, and then we could assuming the DOT is approved at all, which actually won't even do until we get the comments, we could set the fare and then implement.
Joe, one more question. With the DOT approval, does that also mean that the DOT is going to reimburse us for this deficit?
They already do.
Well, we had a little problem getting it in the first place. Is it now scheduled reimbursement?
We have the money. We have 3 years of money for this program.
Okay.
So we have the funding. We have our funding. We have the funding to cover the entire deficit. We don't. The funding level we have does not require a fare at the moment, but the concern was when you go too long, fare free will be harder to implement a fare later on.
Right. Okay, thank you. Are you looking for a motion at this time?
So, yeah, we had come up with a motion. So we're really looking for, at this point, kind of instructing us to go forward with the fare process at $1.75. What we want to know is that the board's okay with moving forward, proposing $1.75. Clearly, I'll make it clear, it is a proposal still at this point.
All right, then why don't we make a motion to have the board authorize the proposal of the fare of $1.75 per ride. Is that sufficient?
Yep, I think that's sufficient because we'll come
Okay,
back.
someone make that motion, please.
obeyed.
Charlie makes the motion. Who seconds? Tim, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the proposal? Motion, yes, fine. Thank you very much. Is that it for extra mile discussion? Okay, moving along to grant resolutions.
That came out of the ETC committee as well. Joe, do you have a resolution from Jonathan?
I don't yet, so we could discuss it and then bring it back to the regular meeting. We have spoken about it. He's trying to make sure that he's just making sure it complies with the federal rules. So.
Okay, just to give you all a little background on this, the discussion at the ETC on this was that now that the DOT letter of intent has been executed and we continue to move even faster toward the merger and putting things in place, the issue of whether federal and state grants get apportioned individually to Matt and Estuary as opposed to just one grant consolidated to Estuary was discussed. And it was felt that it was important that we all start to see this money as our money, not their money and our money. And that the issue of separate grants is not only additionally administratively cumbersome, but Matt cannot dissolve itself over time as long as there are any outstanding grants. So the more we add to the Middletown roster, the longer it's going to take to actually fully effectuate the technical dissolution of Matt. So Estuary is recommending to both boards that they agree that future grants be made on a consolidated basis just to the expanded Estuary district. And that's what Jonathan Shapiro, who is the Matt attorney, is working on. So this issue will come back at a future board meeting then.
Is that necessary, or is it possible for us at this time to accept Jonathan's language and approve this grant process?
We don't have any language from Jonathan yet.
I'm just saying, when we get it, can we authorize the board, can the board authorize us to accept that? Pending, I guess not. All right, we'll wait then. It's too bad. It just would make life easier if we could move forward. I thought Jonathan was gonna have that language for you today.
Well, I think as long as we have a consensus now, we at least can direct DOT for this one that's coming together now, that's who to put it all to one. Because we won't have the award before we get the resolution.
All right, is there further?
Timing wise, I can at least tell them that this additional COVID money, just put it to Estuary. And then we will have the resolution before we have the grant done.
Does everybody understand what's going on here? Okay, in that case, we need a motion then to to accept I guess unify or condense, or however you want to put it, grant monies into one ETD. So to combine ETD and MAT grant monies in theories and moving forward from at this time. Does that do? Anybody have a better idea?
I think that's okay.
That's essentially, yeah.
All right.
Susan,
Can
has-
I read that back to you, Leslie?
Yeah,
To make sure
please.
I got it? Condensed
Susan,
grant
has
money.
that been floated to DOT to see if it's okay from their end?
So yes, DOT actually asked me who should be getting the grant.
Okay, so to condense grant money and combine the ETD and MAC grant monies moving forward?
I would suggest to consolidate grants for both Middletown Transit District and Estuary Transit into Estuary Transit District.
As per language from Attorney Shapiro. So that we know
Attorney
that it,
Shapiro?
yes, Jonathan Shapiro.
Okay.
Okay. Who's made the motion?
I'll make it.
Susan, is there a second? Angus, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Very
Aye.
good. Motion carries. Thank you. I'm sorry for the confusion on that, but we thought we were going to have language today from Jonathan, so that made it a little sloppy. Sorry about that. Moving on to the CARES grant discussion.
Okay, that's another item that's come out of Estuary Expansion Transition Committee. As Helena described, we have so far received Estuary $2.5 million in COVID relief funding. We've spent $500,000 of that, so we have remaining $2 million. Of that, about $700,000 is committed for extra mile over the next 2 years. as Joe mentioned, DOT has become concerned that we are not spending it quickly enough. And that could impact the decision-making process that they use for the next round. And that next round, you may recall, is where we are also asking for an additional 2.5 million in operating funds. So Joe has decided to use these funds to accelerate some merger-related expenses, which he will describe for us. We're not looking for a motion, but it's an FYI.
Yeah, so we wanted to try and find ways to spend funds that wouldn't commit us to ongoing expenses that we wouldn't have the funds later to pay for. So what
That's like a Tesla. Oh, that's not what you had in mind?
next round, that's in the infrastructure stuff.
Oh.
Because there's more money coming. But so what we looked at was, well, how about some positions that are in our agreement with CONDOT to be funded, but just not yet. They're funded a little bit down the line, but would be really helpful to have now. So we looked at adding, number one, another full-time driver at Estuary because of the difficulty getting part-time drivers at the moment. Again, in our study said we will convert to mostly full-time at Estuary because we'll be over 50 employees and we'll have to provide health insurance to pretty much everyone. So it no longer becomes beneficial to have a lot of part-time employees. So that's in the plan already. So we also looked at another road supervisor, and study calls for 6 in the end. Right now, Estuary has none. So we want to have one based out of Estuary to, number one, provide supervision and safety.
I couldn't hear you. What position is that?
Or a road supervisor.
What kind of
road supervisor.
Okay, sorry.
Middletown does have some road supervisors, but Estuary has none. It's a position we've tried to get for years for safety reasons, but also just to have another operations person based out of this location to help when there's a call out and whatever happens, that you need to get somebody else on the road. And then finally, a accounts receivable payable position. That one is more temporary because right now during this transition, we still have 2 sets of books that we're running. And so in the end, we might not need as many, we know we'll need less finance staff, but today we are still doing everything that always happened because we have 2 sets of books, and we'll continue to have 2 sets of books for at least another year, probably even 2. Even longer, depending on how long these capital grants have to stay. So this will provide some much needed assistance to Helena and just free up a lot of that. Again, we run 2 payrolls. One's a weekly payroll, one's a bi-weekly payroll. So we're not yet, and we won't yet be to the point where we're seeing a lot of the efficiencies of on the finance side because just of the way this merger has to work. There's going to be some time for that. So until then, we need some assistance. Total cost is about $180,000 a year. We have right now unspent in CARES funding about $1.3 million. So we definitely have sufficient funds in the CARES Act to fund these for the two to at most 3 years. Before they would have been funded, will they be funded anyway, or will no longer be needed?
Joe, is that enough spending to make the DOT happy?
No, but
We would
so we'll also look at some like real, just true one-time expenses that we could put there, which we have been doing, but we'll look to do that more. At the outset, a lot of our concern was everything was so unprecedented and still is. We had no clue how long this was going to have to, we were going to have to make this money last. So we were really, really careful about how we spent it because I didn't know, Helena and I had no clue. Did we have to make this last a year? Do we have to make it last 4 or 5 years? Seeing our ridership rebound quicker than we anticipated, I mean, those are all really good signs. But we're still not, through the woods yet, as we all know. So there could be another setback. But but we're really, it's really tempting to try and do new service, but unless that's been approved already, we'd only have a short time that we could run it before we looking at have to end it. So that's why we said, let's pick out things that we know we have a commitment to fund later, and we're just advancing them. So that our expense is just for a couple of years. It's not forever.
All right, so I think you probably need a motion to accept.
No, we don't. We don't need
don't?
a, no.
So it's all
Yeah.
within the budget. It's all within our existing budget.
Yeah,
Okay, fine.
he's got the
I
authority.
never know. I never know when we need motions. Okay, is there anything else under the CARES grant discussion? If not.
So that
we're
was, it
gonna-
was really just an FYI, make sure everyone's aware of where we
Thank
are
you.
in it.
Okay, according to the agenda, we should move now to new business item 7. However, I would appreciate if someone would make a motion to move chair comments up at this point, since we have, Noel has a hard stop at 11, and there's stuff that I would like to make sure Noel hears. Would someone make the motion to move chair comments up to this point?
So moved.
Thank you, Susan. Second.
Second,
Discussion, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Fine. Opposed? All right, thank you. Moving chair comments up to this point in the agenda. Thank you for doing that. Noel, I'm assuming you're still leaving in 11 minutes. This is why we're.
Yes, yes, I
Okay.
am. Thank you, Leslie.
You'll notice we have resignations. I hate this, but the first resignation I would like to bring to your attention is from Noel Bishop, and I will briefly read you his letter, which is, as you undoubtedly know, I decided in July that I was not going to run for re-election. I've been in this position for almost 15 years, and the only reason I'm stepping down is because I believe elected officials should give others the chance to serve. I want to thank you and the entire board for all the fantastic work that you've done, making Ninetown Transit one of the best transit districts in the state. The meetings are something I've always looked forward to and attend, and I will miss all of you and wish you nothing but the best. I'm confident that the merger between the two districts will occur, and I know that Westbrook residents are so appreciative of the service that Ninetown Transit provides to this community. Best regards, Noel. Thank you for that. Noel, it is with sorrow that we accept your resignation. You've mentioned that the new administration in November will appoint a new representative. So we will not have anybody possibly for a very short period of time. I'm sure that's a priority on their agenda. Charlie, I believe you have a resolution that I would like you to read for Noel. If we could, can we put that up?
Yep.
can you,
I'll get it up.
you want me to read it, or are you going to put it up on the screen?
Gonna put
I
it
am-
up and you can read it. You
I
can-
am slowly getting it up here. Just gotta
You
find,
can
there we go.
You can slop over the first stuff there that deals with. Go ahead, can you bring it up a little
Okay.
bit more? Keep going, keep going. There we are.
Okay, the resolution in recognition of Noel Bishop, board member, Estuary Transit District certification. I, Charles Noers, Secretary of the Estuary Transit District, do hereby certify that the following is a true and correct copy of the resolution adopted at its meeting on October 15, 2021, in which a quorum was present and acting throughout, and that the resolution has not been modified, rescinded, or revoked, and is at present in full force and effect. Whereas Bishop has served on the Estuary Transit District Board of Directors since as the representative for the town of Westbrook, and whereas he has served as chair of the Personnel Committee and Chair of the Management Contract Committee. And whereas he has been an invaluable contributor to the board in all areas of transit concern, now therefore be it resolved that the Estuary Transit District acknowledges and accepts his resignation as a board member, and further wholeheartedly thanks him for nearly 15 years of outstanding contributions and service. Signed by Estuary Transit District Secretary, that's myself. That's the totality of it, Leslie.
Thank you. Okay, we'll pull that down. Noel, I think we're all applauding here for you. We will miss you, and you've just been absolutely terrific. Always fair, always kind, always concerned. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
Leslie, thank you, and all of you who've served. Suzanne and I often talk about this as one board meeting we always look forward to going to, and I will tell you, I will miss all of you a great deal, and I wish you nothing but the best. And thank you so very much for that resolution, Charlie. I appreciate it.
Wish we had Christine's version to show. We don't, do we?
The pretty one.
We had Christine's version of it. I thought we were going to put that one up. No,
The pretty one, you
You
mean?
of the resolution. Christine had a nicer one.
I think Lisa has it.
Oh, Lisa's got it.
No.
Okay, in any case, moving along. Also, while I have chair comments here, again, I would like to remind you that we had a resignation, which we talked about last month, from Susan Tyler. Said, please accept my, where are we here? I'm writing to inform you that I am resigning as Lyme's representative on the board of directors, effective October 29th. I have tremendously enjoyed participating in this organization and know it will continue to provide valuable service to the residents of the Lower Connecticut River Valley. Sincerely, Susan S. Tyler. Very nice stationery. And in addition, Susan is also resigning our board as treasurer on the executive board of the Estuary Transit District, effective yesterday. Fine. It's been my pleasure to serve the district in this capacity. Sincerely, Susan S. Tyler. So, as a result of being in receipt of these two letters, we have another resolution. We can put that up. Charlie, we're back to you.
I've got it, yes. Resolution in recognition of Susan Tyler, board member of Estuary Transit District. Certification. I, Charles Noers, Secretary of the Estuary Transit District, do hereby certify that the following is a true and correct copy of a resolution adopted at its meeting on October 15, 2021, in which a quorum was present and acting throughout, and that the resolution has not been modified, rescinded, or revoked, and is at present in full force and effect. Whereas Susan Tyler has served on the Estuary Transit District Board of Directors since 2016 as the representative for the town of Lyme. And whereas she has served on the executive board as secretary and treasurer for the Estuary Transit District. And whereas she has served on the personnel committee, site selection committee, chair of the governance committee, chair of the finance committee, and co-chair of the MOA/ETC committee. And whereas she has been an invaluable contributor to the board in all areas of transit concern. Now therefore be it resolved that the Estuary Transit District acknowledges and accepts her resignation as a board member and officer, and further wholeheartedly thanks her for her many years of outstanding contributions and service, signed by the Estuary Transit District Secretary. That's myself. Susan, we thank you so much for the work that you've done throughout all the years, and it's been a pleasure, and we wish you many years of pleasure out on California with your family.
Thank you, Charlie and Leslie. Thank you, everybody. And just to echo Noel's comments. This has been an amazing board to participate in. It's actually my favorite board. And I've served on many, many boards over time, and I'm very, very partial to the collegiality that everyone shows. I love working with all the staff. And thank you for the opportunity to be part of this. I really appreciate it. And thank you for the resolution. That was very nice. I appreciate it.
And you are going to give us your address in California so we can stay. Right? I want to go visit.
Of course.
Thank you,
Of
Susan. We'll talk later, I'm sure. We have another resignation. This is from Charles Norris. Dear Leslie, please accept my resignation as the Secretary of the Estuary Transit District Executive Board of Directors, effective 10/29/2021, end of the month. Sincerely, Charles Norris. And the reason Charlie is resigning, and you don't get a resolution, Charlie. The reason he's resigning as secretary is because I would like to appoint him to the executive board as our treasurer to take Susan's place. And that will be effective yesterday as well. So we're not missing a treasurer. In addition to that appointment, I would also like to appoint Tim Griswold as secretary to the executive board, effective immediately, to replace Charlie. And if you don't think I've been playing dominoes for a month, you're out of your mind. I need to have a motion to accept those two appointments. Angus, thank you. Is there a second? Who's left? Sorry. Let's see. Susan, you can do that.
I can do that, yeah.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of appointing Charles as treasurer and Tim as secretary, raise your hands, please. Say yes. Fine.
Yes.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Thank you very, very much, both of you, for offering to serve. We'll try not to make it too hard for you. Okay, fine. Committees, also as a result of these resignations, we have a lot of committee changes which have to be authorized. I'm going to put them all together here. I'm looking for a motion to accept the appointment of Carl Kilduff as chair to personnel. I'm looking for a motion to, in the same motion, to approve Charles Norris as finance committee chair, and to move Carl Kilduff up from an alternate member to the full voting member position. Since now we have one less person on that committee, we can do that. On the ETC, I would like to ask for Joan to be appointed as co-chair and for Carl Kilduff to serve on that committee. To my knowledge, those are all I'm going to ask Tim to sit on personnel, but so that we're not short a member, but that can wait a minute because I'll explain that later. May I have a motion to accept all of these appointments to various committees?
So moved.
Thank you. And Angus is a second.
Second.
Yes. Oh, I got it. Angus is up. Further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Abstaining? No, thank you very much. Great, I'm moving along here.
That's a quick question.
Yes,
I missed. Did we get motions and seconds on the two resolutions?
Well, I think Charlie read them, so I was gonna put him down as making the
Okay.
motion.
And how about a
Oh,
second?
and then-
we need motions. I'm sorry. Yeah, got those. So backing up the clock.
So can you send me those resolutions too? I didn't see them in the packet, so I can add them.
Yes,
They're
they were
not-
secret.
They were surprise resolutions.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll get them. This is surprise somebody.
Okay.
Check
Okay.
the chat. You should have them in the chat.
Okay, so motions to accept those two
So can you send them
resolutions.
to the email?
Oh, yeah. I'll email it to you right now.
Thank you.
Okay, just backing up the clock. We need a motion to accept both resolutions. Angus is making the motion, and who's seconding it? Charlie. Okay, further discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the two resignation resolutions? Aye. Very good. Thank you all very much. Okay, also, for me, I was going to welcome our new board member who's been assigned from the town of Lyme to take Susan's place, David Loam, but I don't see him here. I was hoping he was going to participate in today's meeting. And then I was going to see, sorry, Tim, I was going to ask him if he would do personnel committee before I roped you into it, but I guess that's going to have to wait. But in any case, David Loam, LOHM.
I'm sorry, Leslie, LAHM.
LAHM, I knew I did something wrong. Dave, how do you pronounce it then? Lom?
Lom. Mhm.
David Lom, excuse me, will be the new representative from Lyme. And we'll get him up to speed. Joe, did you have an opportunity to send him a welcome packet? Good. Okay,
I did.
fine.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I did that already. Except there's reservation. Okay. I think those are all the things I was worried about.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm done
Will
right
we still
now.
have quorum when Noel leaves?
No left. No
Noel's
left.
gone?
Just now.
We still have
Yes,
quorum?
we still have a quorum.
Okay,
Charles.
good.
Do we? We should. We should. No, Noel's.
Wondering
Oh,
numbers
heavyweight.
wise, since we don't have Carl.
We have Carl. You don't have,
We
you
don't
have
have Carl.
no, you don't have Carl. You don't have Carl, Joan, or Peter.
Well, and Carl's the big vote.
is Carl still on?
No, he was.
Carl's not here.
He's gone and Noel's gone.
Yes.
So
Can
we
we
don't
make
have,
any
we don't have a quorum left.
Okay, so we can continue. We have 5 members. Well, we just can't make any votes.
Well,
Which means
No.
we can't do any of our procurements.
Noel's phone is still here. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
if Noel's
no,
That's
phone is still on.
that's Suzanne.
That's me, because
Oh,
I have to
okay.
be on site because my speakers don't work.
is
Okay.
he gone? Is it possible to get him back for 1 minute or not?
No, he's left the building.
Elvis has left the
Elvis
building.
has left the building. Thank you very much.
Lisa, would you do me a favor, please? I know it's a little late in the day, but could you see if you can raise Carl Kilduff?
Sure.
Thank you. What else can we do? Okay, well, I'm done with my chair comments.
We can go over them.
The
Answer
procurements.
any- Yeah, we can answer any questions.
Okay. Well, let's have a discussion on that because that also
Oh,
came
yeah.
out of ETC committee. These are all merger related. You may remember that we have about 16 special studies and or capital projects and procurements to handle related to the merger. The 6 that are included in the agenda are items that are fully funded. They're no bid. Joe and staff have done the research on them and are requesting approval and authorization to go ahead and sign the necessary contract documents in order to keep them going. They represent about $625,000 of funding, which is we are in receipt of, and we have talked in the past about the general nature of these types of things. I'm not sure whether everybody wants to go through the specifics of what exactly is being asked for. So I'll hand it over to you, Joe, and see how you want to handle it from here.
And I'll say that so no formal procurement was required because the items that were over 50,000 were all under state contract, or in the case of the AVL, it's a sole source because it's an expansion of our current system. The radio is a state contract. All the vehicles, the 2 cars, the truck are a state contract. The bus is under a joint procurement that we're involved in. So that was competitively bid. And the planning and run cutting software was low enough that we didn't have to do a formal procurement, but we did get through multiple quotes from vendors, and they're going with the lowest quote. And then, so that's just a quick summary. If anyone have any questions on any of the particulars?
No? Okay, keep going.
Well, I think that was our, let me look at the agenda.
We have the 6 resolutions here. Do we have to take
Yeah,
a vote on that?
we can't,
Well, we
and we
can't
can't
vote.
do the bank, and we can't do the banking resolution. That's the other item.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Mary's trying to get a hold of him now. He's dialing back in.
Charlie, just double check your numbers, please. If Carl comes in, do we have a weighted vote?
If Carl comes in, we'll have enough.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion about any of these procurements? Otherwise, we'll just move down. We can bring it back up if we get Carl. If we table
And
everything.
And we could just talk about the banking resolution, which is just to change the people on the bank accounts based on the actions that were just taken to change the officers.
Right, so Charlie needs to sign, I need to sign, you need to
Correct.
sign.
Yeah.
And.
So you gotta bring it
where are
around to
those?
everybody.
This
Where are
shows, Joe, this shows just signed by the secretary, so I can do that.
Correct,
No.
that's right. Secretary has signed the resolution, and then we have paperwork that has to be signed from the bank.
Yeah,
And where's the paperwork?
Lisa, is that up there?
You left
is
it
up
on
there.
my desk, Joe. Yep.
Okay, all right. So we'll get it around to everybody to sign.
Okay.
Joe,
Joan has to
Joel.
sign. In the event that Joan
Right.
is, you'll bring it to her house?
Yes.
Okay, fine. How does the line of credit have to be signed again with Charlie as treasurer or not?
No, the one document handles all of our paperwork, all of our accounts.
Because I always had to sign separately for that line. That was a different.
Maybe
paper.
Liberty Bank, but not.
Okay,
We used to have to reapply every year, and they don't do that anymore. They just
Okay.
automatically renew it.
okay, good, fine. Any other discussion about the bank resolution?
Joe, I'll sign this document that I've got here, and I'll give it to the Essex Bank, the bank manager here in Saybrook. And
Okay. Yeah, you can give a copy then. That'd be great.
as I did with the other one. So
Hold on a second, 1 second. Carl, are you now here?
Yes, I'm now on the meeting.
Yes, good timing. Okay. Please, for the record, let it be known that we now have a quorum again. Carl is on. Carl, just to back up, did you hear anything about these procurements? Carl?
I just jumped on the meeting, so I'm not sure what
Okay.
agenda item you're on.
We're on agenda item 13, number 7, which is approval of procurements. And this requires a vote, which we couldn't take until you got here. So basically, we're not running down in any great detail. If you're interested in knowing about anything specifically, just go ahead and ask. Otherwise, what we'd like to do is have a motion to approve those items, those 6 procurements. Do you have any concern about doing that at this time?
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay. Motion please to approve the procurements as listed, all 6 of them on the agenda
It's a bundled
Well,
motion.
as a bundled motion, all 6. Can we do that? I think we can.
Okay.
Yes.
So
So moved by
Kim.
Susan, second, please.
second,
All right, second by Charlie. Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
uh,
aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Very good. The procurements are approved. Moving down now to the bank resolution. Motion to approve the bank resolution. To change all the signatures on that. Motion, please.
So
Tim,
moved.
Second,
second Charlie. Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. All opposed, any opposed? Any abstain? Good, bank resolution motion carries. Thank you.
Leslie, who gets the purchase resolutions, the 6 of them?
Who gets them?
Yeah.
Lisa, you can just
Lisa will
scan them to us,
you to sign.
or we'll pick them up for you.
Where do they get? Somebody
They
has
go
to.
to Pembroke. Yeah,
Yeah, we'll pick them up.
Okay,
We'll
good.
coordinate with you.
Okay, we good? Good. We can now move along to old business. Anyone have old business?
I do. Again, I'm sorry, another ETC item from the merger related things. You'll recall that at the last 2 board meetings, we talked about asking the board to authorize the ETC committee to approve any contract or procurement that is merger related at $150,000 or less. The current permission is at a $50,000 level. And as you can see from these 6 procurement resolutions that we just passed, it's very cumbersome to have to go to the board with all of these. Of the 16 projects that we have, 3 of them are over 50,000, or 10 are between 50,000 and 150,000. 3 are over 150,000 and 3 are under 50. So we're talking about basically 10 projects here that would normally come to the board. And I think it would be very helpful for Joe and staff to be nimble and be able to act on these whenever they're prepared to do so. So I would like to reintroduce a motion as follows: to recommend that the ETD Board of Directors authorize the Joint Expansion Transition Committee to approve contracts and procurements on behalf of the Board of Directors that are fully funded and related to the expansion of ETD as outlined in the Memorandum of Agreement signed by both districts on July 23rd, 2021, in any amount of $150,000 or less in accordance with the ETD purchasing procedures. Suzanne, if you need any help on that, I have it in writing.
Got it. Thank you.
Someone make the motion. Do you want?
you
are
need a
making
motion for
that
that?
motion?
I make the motion.
And second is? Who will second Susan's motion?
Well, Charlie made the
I'll
motion.
I think
second
Charlie.
it.
Oh, Charlie made the motion. I'm sorry. Who's going to second Charlie's motion?
I'll second it, Carl.
Okay, thank you, Carl. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? The motion carries. Thank you, Susan. Any other old business? Hearing none? Well, you should all be happy to remember that I've already made my comments. Yes. Except how sad I am to be losing 2 wonderful, valuable members of our board. Looking forward to the new folks coming in. We'll train them. We'll shape them up. Okay, board member comments. Wow, this is amazing. Do you realize what kind of an agenda we've just barreled through? You guys are awesome. Our next meeting will be next month, November 19th at 9:30 a.m., again with remote options. By the way, speaking of remote options, I did go to the Middletown facility, actually 2 days in a row, go figure, right? But Joe gave me a tour of everything. If you can find it without going over the Portland Bridge, God bless you. I, however, had I had him on the phone guiding me through, and I still came this close to the ramp. So the next day I thought I was a hot shot, and that's when I went to Portland. But in any case, it's a very interesting, very, very pretty building in a very sketchy neighborhood. So lock your,
Location.
I tell you, from a real estate standpoint, that's not where I would have built that. However, if you have an opportunity to go up there, it's worth the visit.
And the
So
state should own
anyway-
the property across the street next week, so.
Oh, that's right. They closed on it. So
Yeah.
that's moving along. And we still don't have anything definitive about.
But yeah, anybody who wants to tour, please just let me know. We're happy to show you around. So you can get a better idea of the facilities involved on the north end.
Yeah, it's interesting. Okay, in that case, a motion to adjourn at 11:20. Fine. Somebody made it. Angus made it. I see it. Okay, thank you all very, very much. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy this beautiful day. And if I don't see you sooner, see you in a month.